Let him laugh, let him weep, let him yell, let him sing. All they wanna say. Let him lay me traps and men to pray to Jehovah, me I pray. Let him laugh, let him weep, let him yell, let him sing. All they wanna say. Let him lay me traps and men to pray to Jehovah, me I pray. Let I be me instead of playing games. For chasing fame, let somebody set the lack of flames. No, living my life to the fullest and shout out my halala to the fullest. Let my lungs out. I'm still rising up to greater heights as long as
Hello, Bonjour Sanbonani. Welcome to Rise to Greater Heights Network, where you can turn your fears into greater success while seizing new opportunities. It is so significant to have a positive mindset, especially under these circumstances. So this network has the potential to completely revolutionize every aspect of your life and career. My name is Riel Kunene, and I'm going to be your host for today. So if you're watching us online, please feel free to put in the chat box where you're watching us from and what you hope to achieve from our podcast. Today, we are surrounded by greatness in the World Wide Web. We have amazing speakers who's going to share some nuggets on human rights, which are God-given fundamental rights and freedoms. In Florida, we have Dr. India White. And then in Greece, we have Rania Lampo. I hope I've said your last name right, Rania. So at this moment, I'll just let our speakers to introduce themselves. So you can go ahead, Dr. White.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. India White. I'm so happy to be on this platform with everyone today. Thank you to Mrs. Real for this amazing opportunity. My name, again, is India, and I am an author, a national education consultant. I'm also a professional speaker and a mother of 2 children, in whom one has turned 10 years old today. So I'm super excited to join you guys and to talk to you today about just your rights and your worth. And I would love to also keep in touch with all of you guys. So feel free to visit my website at www.india-white.com and let's get plugged in together.
Amazing, amazing. Go ahead, Rania.
Greetings from Greece. My name is Rania Lampo. I'm a global educator, STEM instructor, ICT teacher trainer, neuroeducation researcher, author of scientific books for kids, keynote speaker, global peace ambassador, and I'm also a volunteer here in Greece. I was appointed recently as International Ambassador of Volunteerism, the Greek Academy of Volunteerism and Education, and Help Hellas. And I'm trying to teach as a volunteer STEM to children at the Ecological Hospital, to children with special education needs, and also to refugees. Actually, my achievements concern my whole work, education, innovation, research, peace, as I said, the volunteerism, research, and writing scientific book for kids. I'm very, very excited about the day because this is a topic which is very close to my heart. Because as a peace ambassador, I'm fighting a lot for human rights, and I forgot to say that I'm also a member of many women organizations. And I'm trying to form groups of volunteers, women volunteers who will train students in Africa, girls in Africa, in order to encourage them for STEM education. So I think that we have a lot to say, to discuss today.
I can tell. You know what? Now you can really, really see that we are surrounded by greatness. So, you know, because human rights is a very, very sensitive topic to discuss. We always have a disclaimer here at Rise to Greater Heights Network, because Rise to Greater Heights Network is only here to provide information about human rights to the public. Legal information is not the same as legal advice as to the application of the law to any individual specific circumstances. So we cannot offer legal advice in response to specific questions. We strongly recommend that you consult a lawyer if you need help on such. So Dr. White, I have a question for you. If you happen to have your own billboard, I can see your billboard coming down there in the busy highway of Tampa Bay. What will your billboard say?
That's a great question. I'm all about inspiring other people and reminding them that they can overcome anything. So my billboard would tell them, you can overcome anything. And it would also tell them that I am there for their services as a motivational speaker, as a consultant, as a life coach. And I would also just give them maybe a glimpse of what overcoming looks like, whether it was, just an image or something that I definitely had relevance, to in my own life. But definitely my main message to everyone is that you can overcome anything. So that's what I would tell them.
Oh my goodness, I love it. It's all about the mindset. I can overcome anything. So how about you, Rania? What will your billboard say? I can see your billboard coming down there. Maybe it's already there in Greece. Who knows? What will your billboard say?
Well, as a neuroeducation researcher and as an educator mostly, I would like to say that the great teachers can restructure human children's brain, because human brain, I have learned from my experience, is a miracle and it should be respected like this. And hopefully cognitive neuroscience can give us all this treasure of brain-based strategies that we can leverage in order to cope, especially with the COVID pandemic. I wrote recently an article in the national magazine that had a great impact all over the world. It's actually a guide to educators about how to cope with all these challenges based on principles of neuroeducation. So I think that if with educators can explore this fascinating field and apply this in the classroom, they can do miracles. This is my opinion.
Oh, wow. I believe in miracles. I believe in miracles. So I believe my billboard can be the third one, driving on the highway, like on the right of the highway, and it's going to say, rise to greater heights. Because you know what? I believe that the sky is no longer the limit, but our point of view. So let's all rise to greater heights. It's coming. So we're going to get started. We're going to start with our Dr. India White in Florida. Dr. India White is a motivational speaker, life coach, author, national educational consultant, entrepreneur, mentor, and a licensed minister. Audiences learn from her hardships and triumphs in life. As a former homeless student who was kicked out of the house on Christmas Eve at the age of 16. Wow. India is a 3-time graduate from the University of Florida, majoring in math and education leadership, then obtaining her doctorate in educational leadership and administrative. As a Magnite Doctoral Fellow, she aspires to impact education as a transformational leader. India inspires people who want to be known as overcoming, impactful, and dynamic leaders. India recently released a motivational calendar book titled Flip Book for Overcomers that will help give a motivational boost every day for every reader. So Dr. India White had the opportunity to mentor hundreds of women as a mentor for the International Glamour Project, TIGP, with Dr. Askata. Okay, Dr. Askata, I hope I've said it. Which is an international model and queen in the country of India. Dr. India has shared her talents with superintendents, principals, math coaches, and teachers as an educational consultant with a strength in equity, diversity, and inclusion. India's mission is to find out how to use equitable practices in math classrooms to bridge the achievement gap. India has presented across the globe on equity, diversity, and inclusion in education. Many people will tell you she doesn't just talk the talk. She is a rock star. So, kings and queens, in the interest of time, please join me and welcome Dr. India White.
Thank you so much, Rael, for that amazing introduction. I'm very humbled. I think today of, just like you said earlier, why am I doing this? What is my purpose? I remembered when I was on the streets, at the age of 16, homeless. My last 2 years of high school, I was homeless, but now I'm able to consult with many leaders across this nation, across the globe, and tell them about how they can take care of all of the students, whether they're homeless or no matter what their backgrounds, demographics, no matter their socioeconomic status. And because of that, I'm here today to talk to you guys about knowing your worth. Now, I'm not just going to talk about, the work that I do as an educational consultant across the United States and across the globe, because that work, I love doing that work, and that work will never die. I love writing blogs on equity, diversity, and inclusion. I love seeing the light bulbs go off when I'm talking to teachers and coaches and principals about how to close the achievement gap. And I love seeing the results. And I loved being part of turnaround schools where, they're going to shut the school down, but we were able to keep the school open, and the school's doing an amazing job now. Even though I'm removed from the school doing other things, they're still thriving because they're still using some of those equitable practices and systems and policies that we had in place. And so with that said, I can tell you guys, I did not get here by myself. I needed a team. It takes a community. It took a village to get me off the streets and put me from a homeless shelter into a college dorm overnight. And it takes a village now as I'm joining forces across this globe with other leaders in education to close the achievement gap and to meet the needs of all learners, irregardless of their background, socioeconomic status, and whatnot. And so I'm going to share with you guys my presentation, if that's okay. So I'm going to request to share my screen. Am I able to share my screen? If not, then I'll have to talk through it. So I'll wait for access to share my presentation, Ms. Rael. But if I don't get access, then I'm going to talk to you guys about some.
Yes, you're good to go, Dr. White.
Okay, I'm good. Woohoo! All right. So I'm going to share. All right. Can you guys see the screen?
Yes, we can see it.
All right, let's do it. Slideshow. Okay, so again, I want to talk to you guys about knowing your worth. And the definition of the word worth is it's the value that's equivalent to that of someone or something that's under consideration. So the level at which someone is deserving to be valued or rated. So you've got diamond rings or cars or salaries or a qualified worker. Okay. And so I wanted to talk about this, and I wanted to talk about how is worth established. So, well, we can establish worth by how others treat you. How are you paid? How do people perceive you? And so the question is, how do you convince others that you are valuable? Have you ever been in a room and they've asked you to quote your price, and you want to tell your price and you gave them a couple $100 less, or you just said free because you're afraid to tell them what your worth was? So let's talk about it a little bit. Well, the opposite of worth here is feeling worthless, being abused, being oppressed, slaves, being mocked, shameful, disdained. Some of us have felt that way. I know I have been there, and that's why I can write this. And this is why I want to connect with you heart to heart, because I know what it's like. Some of us, we've been beaten out of our worth. You know, according to the NCADV, which I'll have to go back because I just did a wonderful job going forward. Okay. So according to the NCADV, 20 people per minute are being abused by their partner in the United States. 20 people per minute. Look at this. 1 in 7 women are abused by their partner. 1 in 25 women are injured, have to go to the hospital, broken leg, broken whatever. 1 in 10 women are raped by the partner. 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men are severely injured by their partner. So the question, when is enough abuse enough? When is enough enough? So this makes me think about reasons why women tolerate abuse. And I know that this platform is open to all, but I am highlighting women here because I am a female and I've been able to unfortunately relate to some of these situations. And I wanted to share with you some of the mindsets that I've shared and others as well. Women say, hey, I can change them. I can change them. I can change them. Or they're not abusing me. That's their love language. That's how they show me that they love me. They love me. This is how they're showing it. Okay. He yells. That's fine. It's because he's overprotective. He loves me. That's all. Or God is pleased. This is a big one. God is pleased with me submitting to him. He could kill me in Jesus' name, but I know God is pleased. That's tough. Or he or she, they're all I have. They're all I have. You don't understand. I can't leave them. I can't do without them. They're all I have. Or it's not that bad. A slap here and there is not bad. I mean, you could have threw me or, could have done something else. Just slap me in the face. What's the big deal? It just broke my phone. It's fine. Or, well, I deserve it. I didn't text him in time. I didn't clean. I didn't do what he asked. I deserved it. I deserved it. I made this bed. Listen, this is the one I use. I made this bed, and now I need to lay in it. I made this bed, now I lay in it. I have to take responsibility and come what may. Oh, well, I deserve it. Or I don't want to lose him or her. I don't want to lose them. I know it's bad, but I just can't imagine life without them. Or they're just not in a good mood. That's all. They just weren't themselves. It was out of their character. It's okay. It'll be better later. Okay. And so I know some of you can relate to this. And this is not me pointing fingers. I'm in the ring with you. Okay. Because we have all made excuses because as women, we are nurturers and we want to see better. We want progress and we hope for more. But these are some of the reasons why people stay in. There are studies that show that it takes about 7 times for a woman to leave an abusive situation. 7 attempts to leave. It takes 7 times. So let's keep talking about this. So how do you then establish self-worth with your partner? How do you establish self-worth with your partner? Well, first things first, you want to make a list of what you want to feel in your relationship and what you want. Okay. What do you want financially? How do you want to be treated? So if you're in a relationship with someone and you're thinking about marriage or even a partnership in a business opportunity or whatnot, you want to consider this. Further, if your partner does not fulfill this list, give them a copy of it and tell them that this is what would make you happy and that you'll strive to have this someday. So these are just my simple opinions, that I think would result in happiness as you're pursuing a relationship or business with someone. Another thing that you can do is you can have self-care established for you. Do you write in a journal? Do you get massages? Do you have trips on the beach? Shower time alone. Sometimes, some women, you're women with children. I'm right there with you. And sometimes the only time you get is that time in the shower. That 8 minutes is everything, and so it's like, do you have that time, that quality alone time for you? Because you do matter. You have worth. You are valuable and you're irreplaceable. So that's why you have to establish these type of things, in my opinion, because that's what's going to help you. Moving forward, creating boundaries. Okay. What will you tolerate? What will you not tolerate? How will you tolerate someone treating you How will you tolerate someone speaking to you? How will you tolerate someone, interacting in business transactions with you, in other relationships as you're bringing them around other loved ones? What will you tolerate? What will you not tolerate? Making sure that you're standing firm on that, and not feeling bad because you have to be assertive. Assertive is not abusive. Being assertive is just being able to put your foot down in a professional manner, making sure people understand that you have worth and you have a voice and that you're going to stand on what you're desiring. Also, don't be afraid to leave a toxic situation. If it's not working out and you've made your list of pros and cons, the good and the bad dramatically is outweighing the good, don't be afraid to leave. Okay. I think that, in my opinion, I think that you can only start seeing better as you continue to make choices that will speak to your self-worth. Okay. Now, self-worth in the workplace. How do we establish worth? So you want to prove your abilities by consistent production and communication. Are you producing? Are you, making business transactions? Are you recruiting? Are you adding? Are you advertising? What are you doing to add worth in the workplace? Further, speak up when you want something. So don't be the quiet mouse over in the corner, assuming that people are mind readers and that they're going to know what you want. They probably won't, and that's okay. So the squeaky wheel does get the oil. So speak up. If you want something, if you're wanting a raise, if you're wanting a different, opportunity, speak up. Further, learn the politics. There's politics everywhere. You can't avoid that. So if there's someone that's been on the job for many years, respect their position and understand that they earned that place and that speaks volumes. So learn the politics, and then choose to work together with others effectively. Choose to work together with others effectively, and then choose not to complain when you're at work. So then when you do that, you're enhancing your self-worth in the workplace, and you're giving yourself a creative space of peace in your work environment so that you will love coming to work, and you won't be, applying for job applications every lunch break. All right, now, how to stand up to abusers. This is another topic here. So the tough thing about knowing your worth is learning how to stand up to those that have abused you or those that have you in a corner. Sometimes people that are abusers, it's like they have a wolf spirit. They're very strong. They yell. They're intimidating. They get in your face. They just demise plans against you. They do whatever they can to take you out. And so there are a couple of peaceful strategies that you can use that will help you stand up to abusers. So for one, use strategic talk. So you can say, if they're arguing with you and this person is irrational and you cannot seem to have any type of resolution with them, you can use strategic talk like, what I heard you say was A, B, C. Repeat it back to them in a respectful manner so that it doesn't escalate into something else. And then you're on the power wheel cycle. You can also tell them, I feel this way when you talk to me this way, or I felt this way when you said this. Does that make sense? So as you're doing this, this will help you maintain peace. Sometimes you might have to take a break. Okay. The next thing you want to do is create a plan for space if that's needed, like I just mentioned. So communicate to them and let them know that you might need a break. Maybe start with short breaks. Hey, I'll call you in 30 minutes. Something's come up, or I just need some time. I'll call you in 30 minutes. Or, hey, I'm going to text you in 30 minutes. Sometimes you can't listen to the voice of an abuser because it brings back trigger points and it's doing emotional damage. So sometimes it's better to look at an actual text than hearing their voice and then cowering down in fear and intimidation and then going right back in that cycle of abuse. So these are ways that you can break out of the routines that unfortunately take place with abusers. Another thing, you might have to mute your phone for peace of mind. Mute your phone. Tell them, hey, I'll be right back with you. I've got some things going on. I'll get back with you. And mute your phone, put it away, and get your mental sanity to where it needs to be. Another thing is you might want to take a different route. If you are dealing with someone that is an abuser and they're somewhat stalkerish, then you might want to start taking different routes to the store, to the mall, to wherever, just so that you can start changing up your way of work, so that you're not always, in their radar. Does that make sense? Okay. And next, have a supportive community. Churches are great for this. Work partners, college peers, they are all open and ready to help. You would be amazed how many people will help if you just ask. That's another thing. Don't be afraid to ask. So thanks for letting me share that. Let's keep going. Now, how do you deal with abuse in the workplace? So are you dealing with sexual harassment, discrimination? Is there racism, bullying, oppression? So if there is abuse that is taking place in the workplace, then I would recommend you communicate with your supervisors about it, and their leaders above them about the abuse so that it can stop happening, because you will tolerate, what you're refusing to change, or what you're refusing to, what you're not refusing to change, you're going to tolerate it. So therefore, you want to make sure you're communicating with people above your supervisor and to your supervisor about what's going on. Okay. In the day and age that we live in now, abuse should not be tolerated. I think that, especially in the workplace, so many people, I don't know if you guys have seen stories of people going viral because they've reported the abuse. And sure enough, boom, the next day that company is canceled and they're in hot water because of what they tolerated and what they did to that individual. So with that said, this leads me to documenting these episodes that you might be going through and present them to an attorney or 2 or 3. So there are so many people waiting to help. Discrimination attorneys, sexual harassment attorneys. I tell you, there are so many people waiting to help you, waiting to file a case. So don't close your mouth if you're being abused. Just figure out a plan as to how someone can help you get out of the situation. Okay, report the company to Equal Opportunity Organization. So Equal Opportunity Acts, it talks about how you have the right for employment without discrimination of gender, race, religion, your sex, and things like that. And so therefore, I would highly recommend you report it if you do not see a change. You do have to report it within the time frame. I think it's within a couple of months to a year. And then make it go viral. So if you report it and nothing happens and you're absolutely sick and tired of it, you need to contact some strong movements. If you're African-American, there are some movements out there. If you're, I don't care what your background is, there is a movement for you. There are people waiting to be your mouthpiece because maybe you just need that. There is no shame in that. You don't need to tolerate that. And so I would highly recommend, if you can make it go viral, go for it. All right. Now, so remember, you are never worthy of abuse. Do we make mistakes? Yes. Do we drop the ball? Yes. Do we say things you shouldn't have said? Sure. But when you think about it, you're never worthy of abuse. We're called to peace. We're not called to abuse. You're made in the image of God. You don't need new skin color. If you're dating someone that's abusive or in a relationship with someone that's abusive, whatever the relationship status, remember these things. You don't need new skin color. You don't need new hair. You don't need to change your personality. Remember, somebody in this world will go crazy over you. So be patient and leave your toxic situation. So let me share a story with you. See, I'm single. I've been single for a hot minute since my divorce. I've been single since about 2011. It's been a hot minute, y'all. And but I've had these encounters with guys, all above board, nice and respectful. But I remembered a time where I wanted to wear my natural hair. And I'm talking about this as an African-American female because this is pressure that some of us face. I was raised that you covered up your natural hair. You got whatever you needed to do. You covered it up. You did not wear your afro because you're trying to get a job. And so therefore there's certain looks that other races prefer over the afro. Does that make sense? So I was under that mindset, but one day I just got tired of it. And I said, I'm going to wear my hair. This is how God made me. Oh, well. So I did. So I had my afro out and I was leaving the grocery store. And there was this gentleman walking towards me. He literally stopped in his tracks. His jaw dropped. And he said, oh, my word, you are gorgeous. You are so beautiful. And I was thinking to myself, oh, my word, but I don't have extensions. I don't have anything to cover, and I said that because I didn't know my self-worth. And I'm not implying anything because there are a lot of women that wear extensions and they know their self-worth. That's fine. But in my case, I used it as a cover up for my own fears and my own doubts of my beauty or who I am and my value. And so I tell you that because as soon as you decide to unplug any doubts about how beautiful you really were made, and you decide to go with yourself and to be you, you will be amazed how I feel the Creator will give you. He will give you the people that you need that will affirm your beauty, your worth. You don't have to emulate anybody else. You can shine in your own light if you just gave it a chance. So with that said, be patient and remember there are people that would go crazy over who you are, what you have to offer. And so if you're in a situation, I would recommend, if it's toxic, I would recommend you leave that situation because you only live so long on this side. And I would hate to see you suffer, for 20 years trying to convince someone that you're valuable. And so now with that said, I want to say thank you guys for connecting with me, and I would like to stay connected. I've got a couple things here. If you visit my website, www.india-white.com, I'm going to do a deal where my books will be $20 for everyone that is watching this series. I also have a Rockstar coaching program for you where I can walk with you one-on-one with coaching for $297. Okay. I also have a book collaboration opportunity, which the door is closing soon. It's called How to Find and Keep a Good Man, only $197 total. So come and join us. There's a couple of us already writing, and I would love to have you join us. And then feel free to email me at india.white.123@gmail.com if you're wanting more information or you just have questions, or you just need guidance. I'm here for you. Also, please feel free to follow me on my social media channels. There's Miss India White for Facebook. There's Twitter. It's Indie Speak and Teach. That's INDISPEAK, the letter N and the word teach. LinkedIn is The India White. YouTube is India White 123, and Instagram is Indy238. And I asked for you to follow me because I also have a real talk show where I would like to, maybe even feature you on a guest. If you are on the show of the Real Talk Show as a guest, if you've overcome something or you want to talk about something that you've got going on, you want to promote something, I would love to, join forces with you. But at the end of the day, I want you to remember, know your worth. Okay. It's possible to convince people that you are valuable, and it's possible to be treated as the king or the queen that you are. So with that, thanks so much, guys, for letting me share. And that's what I have for you. Any questions or comments?
Oh my goodness, Dr. White, just drop the mic. Oh my goodness. You say I should know my worth, and knowing my worth, more especially on the personal aspect than the business aspect of work or whatsoever. You've mentioned that I should establish self-worth with whosoever I'm involved with. Make a list on what you want from the relationship. Self-care, establish self-care for yourself. This is like quality time to be alone without any disturbance. I know being a mom, this is usually skipped.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you mentioned that we do matter, so we should establish this self-care, set boundaries, create boundaries around you. Oh my goodness. And I like the way you've mentioned, like on the work aspect, that you'll have to speak up. If you want a raise, speak up. No one will read your mind that you want this. If you want something, just speak up, because you know your worth. Thank you so much, Dr. India, for sharing such a profound, much needed message.
Thank you, Rael. It's been a pleasure. I'm looking forward to keeping in touch as well. So thank you.
Thank you so much. So now we're gonna go to Greece. Oh my goodness, from the US to Greece. Oh, it's gonna be a ride. We are going to Rania Lampowo. She is a global educator, a STEM instructor, and an ICT teacher trainer in Greece, the beautiful Greece. She has a postgraduate degree in Master of Education in Language Teaching related to cognitive neurosciences, and she is also a passionate researcher on cognitive neurosciences and neuroeducation. She is the founder and international coordinator of many innovative international projects that focuses on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals described in the 2030 agenda. Wow. Wow. She is also an author of scientific books for kids. Wow. Oh my goodness. She is also an international executive member of Global Edu Leaders Forum, honorary ambassador of Charles Walters Society for Innovation and Research, education ambassador, and a member of International Organization of Educators and Researchers Inc., IOER. She's also an ambassador of the National Education Policy 2020 of India, NEP 2020, international advisor of the South Asian Institute of Advanced Research and Development, Center for Peace, Advocacy, and Sustainable Development. Also, K-12 Digest Magazine, International Youth Society. I can go on and on and on about Rania, but overall, she has presented her research in numerous international conferences and e-conferences, and she has published articles and various journals around the world. So, kings and queens, in the interest of time, please join me and welcome Rania Lampowo.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your lovely introduction, and many congrats to India for her commendable work and her amazing and inspiring presentation. Today I'm going to explore actually the impact of the COVID pandemic on human rights, how this has threatened peace-building gains, and in the second part, I'm going to present you some of my multi-award winning projects based on sustainable development goals concerning mostly peace education in developing countries. So may I share my presentation? Can you see now my presentation?
Yes, we can see your presentation.
Okay. So the COVID pandemic actually is a defining global health crisis of our time, the greatest challenge we have faced since World War II, and it has been the most disruptive infection outbreak of the 21st century. But pandemic is actually much more than a health crisis. It's also an unprecedented socioeconomic crisis that has the potential to create devastating social, economic, and political effects that will leave long-standing and deep scars. So COVID actually threatens peace-building gains. Therefore, commitment to sustaining peace is more urgent than ever before. The pandemic has highlighted rights and liberties which had been taken for granted, such as the freedom of movement and association. All these liberties were revoked and social values were reoriented. And it also became evident that the world lacks an effective approach to deal with such crises. So observing the crisis through a human lens and its impact through a human rights lens puts us a focus on how it is affecting people on the ground, particularly the most vulnerable among us, and what can be done about it now and in the long term. So we have seen how policy responses to the pandemic gave in many countries opportunities to state and non-state actors to tighten or advance their power. And especially in the first months of the pandemic, there were several armed groups that seem to have tried to weaponize the global shock to their own advantage. Similarly, in some conflict contexts such as Yemen and Libya, competing political powers and local armed groups appear to have used the political pandemic measures to tighten their territorial control and power and undermine the legitimacy of their opponents. And also, we have seen how the pandemic strengthened the key political grievance that induced conflict. Civil resistance across the globe has re-emerged because of people voiced concerns and related to the socioeconomic effects of lockdown measures. So guarantee a human right for everyone poses a challenge for every country around the globe to a differing degree. And the impact of the crisis on this right is clear. Unemployment and food insecurity, widespread closure of schools, reduction of care and protection services for children. Strategies to contain the virus are impossible for the homeless or residents of slums, where lack of access to clean water and sanitation is a fundamental issue. The COVID also is sweeping through populous, high-density, informal settlements and refugee migrant camps, where physical distancing is challenging, access of human health services limited, and population especially vulnerable to disease. Therefore, this crisis raises particular concerns for the marginalized and especially the most vulnerable in society. And we all know that marginalization creates vulnerability, and this could raise tension and, of course, provoke civil unrest. In addition, many migrant and refugees and displaced children face challenges in accessing health care. And especially here in Greece, we have a bigger number of asylum seekers, so the problem was actually aggravated. And as I say always in my presentation, I think that the COVID pandemic is actually, would be actually a great resetter. Here we can see what are the challenges for migrant children. They have challenges in accessing healthcare, as I said before. Many unaccompanied migrant children have been forced to live on the streets or in overcrowded places. There was also an added risk of being detained by immigration authorities, potentially exposing them to violence. And there was a risk also of missing out public health information. There was also these barriers from language. Undocumented children, for instance, in France, they had fear contact with public authorities. Misinformation, what we call infodemic, and fake news of the spread of the COVID pandemic has also exacerbated xenophobia and discrimination. So I believe that the COVID pandemic is actually could be a great resetter. Einstein said that after crisis, there is always a progress. Because I believe that this is an opportunity to bring forward long-awaited reforms for the development of societies, economies, socioeconomic problems, education, etc. So the pandemic has created opportunities actually for peace and can provide a pretext to adopt repressive measures for purposes unrelated to the pandemic. The instability and fear that the pandemic engenders is exacerbating, as I said before, existing human rights concerns such as discrimination against certain groups, hate speech, xenophobia, attacks and forced returns, mistreatment of migrants, sexual and gender-based violence, as well as limited access to sexually productive health and rights conflicts. So more than ever before now, we have seen that human rights are needed to navigate the crisis in a way that will allow us as soon as possible to focus again on achieving equitable, sustainable development and sustaining peace. The crisis, we have seen that exacerbated humanitarian crisis and in response, authorities employed containment measures, including social isolation, business closures, and all that resulted in a sharp economic downturn. And also COVID has influenced many countries regardless of the levels of socioeconomic development. So here I want to say it's important to clarify this difference between what is positive peace and negative peace, this distinction. Negative peace refers to the absence of violence. It is negative, why? Because something undesirable stopped happening. For instance, the violence stopped, the oppression ended. Why positive peace? Positive peace is filled with positive content, such as restoration of relationships, the creation of social systems that serve the needs of the whole population, the constructive resolution of conflict. And of course, peace does not mean the total absence of any conflict. It means the absence of violence in all forms and the unfolding of conflict in constructive ways. So peace therefore exists when people interacting non-violently and are managing the conflict positively with respectful attention to the legitimate needs and interests of all concerns. We have seen also during the COVID pandemic new patterns of violence. The pandemic shifts patterns of violence. There have been reports of substantially higher use of rates of suicide, mental health disorders. We have seen how children, students suffering from serious mental health disorders such as post-traumatic stress, anxiety, and depression, and many others, domestic violence, and all that are a result of social isolation, social distancing. According to research, countries that have invested in protecting economic and social rights are likely to be more resilient. Countries that are most likely to recover quickly from the pandemic are those with strong performances in what we call, there are some index, good relations with neighbors, sound business environment before the crisis. So the two factors that will assist the countries in the post-pandemic recovery are high levels of positive peace. That means guaranteeing effective institutions, social cohesion, transparent representative governments, and favorable economic conditions before the pandemic. And these were the pillars were mostly heavily affected by COVID pandemic. In addition, we have another index, which is called well-functioning governments and high levels of human capital that were influential also in mitigating the effects of the crisis. It's interesting to see that according to Global Peace Index, Global Peace is the world's leading measure of global peacefulness. And also this has developed the Positive Peace Index, which measures the attitudes, institutions, and structures that create and sustain peaceful societies. And this index provides guidance on the future peacefulness of countries, their resilience, which in the COVID era is increasingly important, and long-term prospects for recovery. So most of these indicators are likely to be negatively impacted by the COVID crisis. Many countries have taken targeted measures to mitigate all this socioeconomic impact of the crisis. So the most vulnerable, some countries have granted, for instance, residency rights to all migrants and asylum seekers in an irregular situation to give them full access to the country health care. Many other have made coronavirus treatment free to all, or measures have been adopted in some countries to protect the vulnerable groups, including persons with disabilities, homeless people, young people living in institutions, and other suspended arrests of irregular migrants. We can mention what UNESCO launched the My COVID Stories, a campaign to provide a space for young women and men around the world to share their views, their experiences and initiatives. And this has given the opportunity youth to strengthen empathy, solidarity, and resilience skills to combat the COVID crisis related with hate speech and disinformation. Here you can see some how some students, for instance, in China, high school student from China, says that misleading, biased information, conspiracy theories have resulted in hate and racism, and how another student from China similarly describes Twitter hashtags that label Chinese people as murderers. So, of course, COVID crisis undermining sustainable development, and here we need the 2030 agenda, which is based actually, is underpinned by human rights and provides us all this comprehensive blueprint for sustainable recovery from the pandemic. So I think that education could play a crucial role in building defenses of peace in the minds of people. And it aims, since it aims at the total development of the child, it tries to inculcate all the higher human and social values in the mind of children, and it attempts to adopt a set of behavioral skills necessary for peaceful living and peace building. Why peace education is necessary, especially in schools? Because it's holistic, it embraces all the physical, emotional, social growth of children within a framework deeply rooted in traditional human values. It is based on a philosophy that encompasses love, compassion, trust, reverence for human life, and also its skill building. It empowers children to creative and non-destructive ways to settle their conflicts, to live in harmony with themselves, with others, with the world and the environment. And all according to research, peace education can help schools develop a more humanistic management approach, can improve the standard of quality of teaching, facilitate socialization through cooperative and service learning. For instance, I think that here what I'm trying to do here in Greece is to promote the integration of service learning in primary education. It's very important to promote the message of volunteerism and initiate our children from an early age to become active citizens and responsible citizens that can help already from this age humanity. Of course, this can, peace education can promote noble ideas such as kindness, friendship, and generosity, etc. So, I said before, I'm a STEM educator, and according all to research, educators, governments, decision public makers said before need to incorporate peace education in the curriculum and development of teaching learning materials. So inclusion of peace values and activities will make all this subject more meaningful. And as our goal becomes interconnected, you know, the countries that prioritize STEM education and research can make significant advances in alleviating poverty, sustaining economic, cultural, and societal growth. So it is vital for countries seeking to reduce their poverty levels to adopt new scientific research and technology. And in doing so, these countries can improve their economy, healthcare system, infrastructure. So the role of STEM undoubtedly in developing countries is of significant importance, especially in now modern world. So what I'm trying to do, I forgot to say that the STEM education, of course, reflects the 4 C's as we call, creativity, communication, collaboration, and critical thinking. And what are the characteristics of STEM educated students? They are problem solvers, they're innovators, they're inventors, self-reliant, logical thinkers, technologically literate. And STEM developing countries, it's very important for the economic progress, for healthcare, for engineering and manufacturing. So what I'm trying to do, I'm the founder and international coordinator of many humanitarian international STEM projects implemented most in Africa and Asia based on sustainable development goals. The impact of this project, first one, thanks to this project, first of all, my students did students in Africa, in Malawi and Kenya performed amazing physics experiment. They did amazing things, artifacts using only natural resources. And thanks to this project and the progress they made, we obtained filtering and water and sanitation filtering equipment to students who had to walk about 90 minutes to find clean water to drink. And also 6 wells were drilled in areas of Malawi where there was no safe clean water. And also, not important to say that these students, they haven't learned how to filter, how to sanitize their water. They drink dirty water the way they will find it. Also, I'm also the founder of another project. We had a great impact in India and inspired educators there who visited slums and educated students, donated the money to their families, educated about, it's about how nutritional awareness, but actually taught them the healthy combinations or healthy food combinations in case of food shortage. So it was another project based on sustainable development goals. And apart from this, recent one was about COVID, and my most recent one, it's called Gender-Based Violence, Why Peace is a much better option. It's inspired by high rates of gender-based violence in Nigeria. And this program actually inspired me to write this. The program, it actually combines STEM education with gender-based violence awareness And here I have included activities such as neurobiology of fear, sociology, artistic activities that will be more challenging to students. It has started already to be implemented in Nigeria with great success. And of course, the final outcome of this program is is the idea of peace among students who suffer from related conflict situations and conditions. Apart from this, here in Greece, I'm working at the Greek Ministry of Education, the Directorate of Education, Technology and Innovation, where I'm writing STEM projects for Greek schools, and I'm also working at the Greek Astronomy Space Company as STEM instructor. And my most recent project is called SOS, We're Changing the Earth's Climate, and it's actually a program that combines STEM education with environmental awareness education and arts and it's addressed to primary school students in order to sensitize educational community students about this important topic of climate change. For all these projects, I have so far received over 120 awards. I was selected among the best teachers in the world to the Global Teacher Prize and Global Teacher Award as a global icon, and among the 100 successful women in the book of Amazon. Thank you very much for your attention. I want to say that education, peace education plays a very important role, especially during the COVID pandemic. And we have a big responsibility, we as educators, to help our students morally, educationally, and psychologically, because here I want to say that our role has shifted. We're not anymore input providers for doing lectures. We are advisors, we are mentors, we are facilitators, we are psychologists. During the COVID pandemic, have assumed multiple roles. So this is the great challenge that we have to face nowadays with our students. And of course, protect them all the human rights. I mean, to promote free and quality education for all students. Thank you very much for your attention.
Oh my goodness, Renia. Oh God, you've just provided solutions, many solutions for the pandemic, for COVID-19, for our lives at home. Really, coronavirus has brought with a surge of depressing outcomes, and some might even feel like their individual rights have been really violated for being, like, I remember last year, 2020 when it happened, being asked to stay at home. I'm like, what kind of world are we living in? Truly, life is undoubtedly full of surprises. So my heart goes to people who live in a noxious situation at home, and to all those with recession and other concerns that is making social distancing difficult. You've mentioned, Renia, that there are 2 factors that will assist countries in post-pandemic recovery. I was taking notes. I'm always a student when it comes to this. I was taking notes. You've said that there is high levels of positive peace and favorable economic conditions before the pandemic. And you've also highlighted that educational projects could be an effective way to promote the sustainable development goals and positive peace. You know what? I believe you're going to have many questions at the end of this. So thank you. Thank you so much, Renia, for sharing such a much needed message, really, throughout the pandemic. We need this. We need solutions instead of like concerns and whatnot. We need more solutions like you did. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
I hope it's Michelle, the one with the I didn't ever just like to chat the iPad, or she just disappeared. Okay, it's not her. So you know what? I believe Michelle is not here. I believe it's her. Michelle, are you there? Or is it Dr. India with the iPad?
Yes, that's me. That's Michelle. Hi, I'm here. I am traveling, so I'm trying to make sure that I have a space that I can work in.
Okay. All right, Michelle, yes. I'm going to go ahead and introduce you. I just wanted to be sure that you are here. Okay. I know the situation. I know where you are, but at least we're going to hear your voice. And I'm so excited to finally hear your voice.
Yes,
So good people, Michelle Rains, she operates as a licensed, this is the word that I've been struggling, narcissistic. Yes, I said it right today. Yeah, she operates as a licensed narcissistic aftercare and etiquette coach, lifestyle strategist who is a motivational and keynote speaker, dubbed as the world's most dissatisfied wife of a ghost. Wow. Elle Michelle has traveled many roads to inform, educate, and tackle sensitive issues that affect people from all walks of life. Her work is beyond being just another coach, as she focuses on narcissistic abuse, an uncommon terrain, and a situation that she has experienced herself. Elle Michelle is a survivor of over 23 years. Wow. She is the founder of Hey Beauty Lifestyle Enterprises, LLC, which is one of the world's leading narcissistic aftercare, relationship, and lifestyle brands that is geared towards women and men who have been victims of horrific grip of narcissistic abuse. She offers the first narcissistic escape guide journal and personalized coaching blueprints and beautiful transformative tools to help her clients reset, recreate, and rebuild their lives. So kings and queens, please join me and welcome Elle Michelle Rains.
Hi, good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, everyone. It's 12:02 here in North Carolina on the East Coast. I am traveling, and but I wanted to make sure that I was a woman of my word. I was always taught that your word is all you have. So I wanted to make sure that even in my travels, that I was able to come and share a word with you all. Okay? Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. As the beautiful, illustrious host has mentioned, that I do operate as a narcissistic aftercare coach and lifestyle strategist. And a lot of people are kind of getting the buzz on what narcissistic abuse is and what a narcissist is. And I think that we've all kind of probably met one or been engaged with one or two in our lifetimes, but we just didn't put a name to it. We didn't know what it was. But after being in a couple actually of narcissistic abusive relationships, I had to dig deeper because this wasn't normal to me. It didn't feel right, and I knew something was wrong. So I would go and hide in the bathroom, when my mate would be asleep, or I would hide in the closet, and I would Google everything. Everything that he would do, I would Google it because I was like, this isn't normal. This makes no sense, you know? So I wanted to go ahead and begin and give you a kind of a dictionary almost definition of what NPD is, because NPD is actually a personality disorder. It's actually a real thing that you can get diagnosed with. So NPD is considered narcissistic personality disorder. This is a disorder in which a person has an inflated self of self-importance. NPD is found more commonly in men than there are in women. Not that women are not, but it's commonly found in men most of the time. This cause is unknown, but likely involves a combination of genetic and environmental factors. Typically, what happens is when a child, a boy child, is traumatized at a very young age, they typically start to gain these type of traits. And it messes up, actually changes the chemical balance in the frontal lobe of the brain. So this is really a mental illness, if you will. So I think I've heard a lot of people talk about, oh, my mom's a narcissist, oh, my boyfriend's a narcissist, and things like that. Everyone can have narcissistic traits. However, everyone doesn't necessarily have to be deemed as having NPD. So what I want to go ahead and give you some of the things that you may want to look out for, or if you're even feeling like these things are happening to you, And these are some of the signs that you may be in a narcissistic abusive relationship. Number one is the feeling of isolation. Typically, narcissists like to isolate you because they want to mold and shape you to being what they want you to be. So they always isolate you. They pull you away from friends, they'll pull you away from family, to make sure that they have a hold of you and can begin to download information into your psyche. That's what the main purpose is. Number two is feelings of severe anxiety when you are around that individual. If you notice that you're getting real jittery and you feel like you're walking on eggshells and you can't seem to get it together when you're around that person, then 9 times out of 10, you're probably dealing with a narc. And I call them narc for short. So that's the host, our illustrious host. Since you said you were having problems pronouncing the word, you can just call them narcs for short. So, and number four, like I said, if you have always having a feeling of walking on eggshells, you don't really know how to, how to address them because you don't know what you're going to get. Like every minute they are different because they're trying to make sure that you're thrown off of your game. They're trying to make sure that you're confused. That is the purpose, is to keep you confused and keep you manipulated. Number five, feelings of manipulation. If you feel like you're coming to your mate and say you want to talk about something, right? If you say that you catch them doing something, okay? And then you're talking to them, and all of a sudden they'll say, you're always blaming me for stuff. This is not even about me. This is about you. This is about your attitude. And why did you respond that way? You have a nasty attitude. Now, mind you, they've done something wrong to you. But when you go to them and go to them and bring it up, they'll make sure that they flip it on you and say, well, why did you act this way? And you're like, wait a minute, what is happening? I'm responding this way because of what you've done. And then they'll say, that has nothing to do with me. That's not me. It wasn't me. So it's always, they're always going to flip things back on you. It's never there. They will never take responsibility for anything that they've done. Because you have to understand that they have this grandiose built up ego and it's inflated. So everything that you say is going to be wrong. It does not matter how right you are. It doesn't matter if you have proof in your hands. It doesn't matter if you have, hold on one second, you guys. I'm sorry, like I said, I'm traveling, but I'm trying to see this, okay. So it doesn't matter if you have the evidence in hand. It doesn't matter because they are going to tell you that you were wrong. It's all about them. They're always right. Okay, so then there is this thing in what we would call the life cycle of a narcissistic relationship. There is a life cycle and it's repeated over and over again. It does not change. I don't care how much you change. I don't care if you look different. I don't care if you get new hair, new whatever. It doesn't matter. It's never going to change. This is the life cycle. The first part of that life cycle is considered love bombing. And what that is when they're being overly nice to you, they're loving, they're calling you all the time, they're texting you all the time, they're giving you gifts, they're taking you on wild trips, they're just loving on you. You're the best thing since sliced bread to them. That's month one. Then the next part of that cycle is called devaluing. When they begin to tear you down and they begin to become overly critical of you, they begin to be mentally and physically abusive in this cycle. That's the middle part. So love bombing is first. They tell you you're everything. And then right behind that, then they'll start to devalue you and tell you that you weren't all those things that they said that you were. Then number three is the discard stage. Is when they end the relationship abruptly and begin to groom a new supply. Okay, when I say supply, you have to understand that you're never a person to the narcissist. You're always considered supply for them, meaning that you supply them with everything they need to stroke their ego, because it's about their ego, it's never about you. So the cycle is love bombing, devalue, and discard. During your discard stage is when he's grooming somebody else in the love bombing stage. He never has one. There's always 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 that he's grooming to always take your place whenever it's time for you to be devalued or be discarded. You will never, ever be the main person or main supply. You may be the primary supply is what they call it. The primary supply usually meets the mother, meets the family, meets the children and all that. You know, he takes the primary supply on trips and he buys the primary supply all these beautiful things. The second supply is the person that will basically fill in for you when he's discarded you for your cycle. Then he has the tertiary supply, which once the second supply gets on his nerve and she's in devalue stage, then the third piece of supply will fill her spot. So it's a cycle. It's never going to end. I don't care what you do. I was in it over 15 years. It never stops. It never ends. So what was the life cycle of a narcissistic relationship? Love bombing, devalue, and discard. Remember that, because it's never going to change. Okay, and the two pieces of main methods of manipulation that a narcissistic will do is they will gaslight you. What that means is they will have you questioning your own sanity. Just like I was saying earlier, if you come to them with something and you know that you're right about this, but they'll tell you that you didn't see it, that you didn't hear it, that you're crazy and you need help. And they'll always twist you into feeling like something's wrong with you. And then they'll start to call you a narcissist to throw you off. And then you'll start to really think about like, wow, I might be a narc. And then that's when you'll start going down that rabbit hole of nothingness, because that's the whole thing. They want to keep control over you. So they're going to keep you in this box of thinking that you're crazy and you're in this rabbit hole. The second piece of manipulation is the silent treatment. The narc will use the silent treatment when he feels that you've been bad or you haven't done something that he wanted you to do or she wanted you to do. Then the narcissist will use silent treatment, meaning that this can go on for days, weeks, and even months. I was in a house with the same person. He didn't speak to me for 3 weeks. Nothing. Anything that I asked, he would not answer. Would not start conversation with me, nothing. So that's the silent treatment is probably one of the worst things that any human can deal with. It really messes up the chemical balance in your brain, because everyone has this thing of, innate thing within themselves to want to be next to another human who wants to have human connection and human conversation. And those type of things starts to have you to not even, how do I say this? You can't even thrive. You can't thrive at that point. You're starting to lose weight. You're looking bad. You're looking weird. You're looking crazy. You don't know what's going on. Your health is starting to fail. Okay. Number 5. What type of people are the narcissists attracted to? Guess what? The narcissist is attracted. The narcissist is attracted to infants. I'm sorry, guys. I apologize. The narcissists are typically attracted to infants. Normal people have empathy for anyone and everyone, right? But the narc does not have the ability to have empathy. He does not or she does not have the ability to have empathy, nor love, nor any of those gooey feelings that we all as normal people have. They don't have the ability. So that's why they're attracted to people who do, because they want that feeling. They want that feeling of worth. They want that feeling of kindness and warmth and love and all that stuff. So that's why they are attracted to people who have it, so they can mimic how they feel. So that's why you feel like you've met the man of your dreams, because he's mimicking what you are. He's watching you. And don't just think that you just met him just all out of nowhere. No, ma'am, no, sir. A narc is studying you from a way off. They've watched you for years. They know who you are. They are people that go and they do study on you. They look you up. If they see you someplace or in some type of publication or whatever the case be, they will seek you out and they will find out everything about you. And then they'll start to talk to your family members first. They won't approach you. They'll talk to people outside of you. And what they're doing then is they're building an alibi, which is called triangulation, because he knows that he's going to dump you at some point, right? So he has to have a good relationship outside of you. So when he does dump you and tell them that you're crazy and that you did this and that you messed up the relationship, those people will believe them. Yes, that's exactly what they do. Those people will believe them. So once he's ready to discard you and be done with you, these are called flying monkeys in the narc world. Once he's done through that cycle, then your family's going to be like, oh my God, Bob is so awesome. And he's done all these things for you, girl, and he loves you. Why are you so crazy going through that man's phone? Why are you all going through his social media, girl? You're nuts. He said that you were doing this and doing that, and you're looking at them like, how did you even know Bob? I haven't even introduced you to Bob. Like, what are you talking about here? So they have already built an entire world outside of you that you did not even know existed. So it's not something that just haphazardly happens. They have studied you for a long time. And then they will approach you when it's time. And you know when that time is? When you're vulnerable. They will only approach you when you're vulnerable. We as women, and you know, this is what I've gone through. We as women have to be so very careful, especially women who are successful. Narcs will never date or deal with a woman who does not have her stuff together. That's just not how that works, because he always wants to look good. So he has to have something on his arm that will mimic what he actually wants for himself. So he will always go after the women with money, with awesome careers, women in ministry, women who are powerful women, officials, those type of influencers, public figures. They will always go after those type of women because they know that those type of women are typically, lacking certain things within themselves. Even though we're successful, there are certain things that we have not gotten, if you will. Like a lot of times relationships are shorter during that time. And so it's hard for us sometimes to find decent relationships because we always have to be guarded because we don't know who's after what. So they know this, and that's why they go after us the most. So I'm telling you, ladies, be careful. Know what you're doing. Know who you're with. Don't just take the first compliment. That doesn't matter. Don't let somebody pop a hole in your head, as my grandmother would say. Be extremely careful. And these things are so serious because as women, we love to be told that we're beautiful and we love to be told kind things and that we look nice and all of these type of things, right? But once we figure out that we have to love ourselves first, then whatever our love for ourselves is beaming, that part we will attract what is meant for us. Once we love ourselves, we will attract what is in us. If we're not complete yet, and we're fragmented, and we're broken into pieces, every narc, every diabolical person is going to come to you and try to be attached to you. I am El-Michelle Rains, narcissistic abuse aftercare coach and lifestyle strategist. Thank you so very much for having me on. I apologize for all the upset. I do.
Oh my goodness, Michelle. Michelle, I'm refusing to be a victim. I am really refusing to be a victim. Oh, thank you so much. Like, I'm so upset. I'm like, why do people do this to good people? Really? Why? Why?
Yes,
I'm so
yes,
upset. I'm really, my spirit is fighting. I'm like, no, no
yes,
woman out there should be a victim. I know some men, they are also victims too, so we shouldn't consider
right,
women only. So you've mentioned that on the narcissist mind, you're always considered a supply to boost
correct,
their ego. And
correct,
they've got a way to manipulate you as a victim because they want to be in control of you. And
correct,
like you've touched a very, very sensitive topic, the silence part in a
yes,
relationship. He can go days and days without talking to you. And
correct.
this manipulator has a way of studying you because like he
Mm-hmm.
knows you're in and out, right? Oh,
That's
Michelle,
right. Yes,
this is a very, very sensitive topic on domestic violence. And
yes,
it's good that we are here. We're going to be the voices of
yes,
the ones who don't have any voice. So
yes.
thank you so much. Thank you so much, Michelle, for
You're
sharing
very
that like
welcome.
needed message. And in your situation, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna cry if you don't share your message. And you forced the situation. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. So I am gonna be the next and final speaker. I love speakers,
Yes,
after
yes.
everyone else. So I'm gonna be the next speaker. So before I speak, what I will do, I am gonna share my bio and then I will come back and speak.
Nonpumelelo Real Kunene is a highly sought-after, energetic, certified Les Brown International speaker. She is the author and host to Rise to Greater Heights, a book and YouTube channel to turn your fears into greater success while seizing new opportunities. Real is also a coach, mentor, and an MC, well known for encouraging many to rise from mediocrity into greatness. Her vision is not only to motivate, but also to empower audiences with a fresh perspective, inspiration they require to pursue success and drive sustainable outcomes in a seriously funny way. Real believes that we are in full control of our choices. Her mission is to meet the needs and transform lives of her clients and her audience. Real's book, Rise to Greater Heights, has inspired and empowered many to pursue their personal and professional passion to become go-getters. Her goal is to study your current situation, identify limiting beliefs, then design a plan of inspired action to empower you to achieve specific outcomes in your life. Real Kunene wears many hats as a professional certified sales manager, CEO, strategist, certified travel counselor, trainer, esthetician, philanthropist, diplomacy protocol officer, international human rights analyst, and a commissioner for OAS. Following her dreams gave her purpose to see her goals through and understand that she does have everything she needs to reach her full potential. Her everyday message is that your journey to be a better person starts with you. So knowing who you are to your core will make you understand that you are the only one who can accomplish your dreams. Hebrews 11, Psalm 27 and 40. Keep her to rise to greater heights. Kings and queens, please join me. Welcome, Real Kunene!
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, amazing speakers. You know, it's such a great honor to be surrounded by your greatness and to fill in your shoes, really. You've set the bar high. So I'm not too sure if I'm gonna be able to fill in your shoes, but you know what? I'm gonna try. But before I continue, I just wanna double check if I'm in the right platform here. How many of you with a raise of hand can say that, Real, I have never, ever complained in life? Never, ever complained in life. Seemingly I'm in the right platform because, you know, sometimes in life we go complaining. complaining about everything. Oh, the weather is really bad today. Traffic was worse than expected. My family drives me crazy sometimes. Oh, the movie was really disappointing. You name it. Though whining can be a way to build an inspiration, it can also keep us from acting, and it gives excuses time to procrastinate from achieving goals. One thing I've realized is that we usually complain in the wake of a negative situation, and we tend to focus more on the problem than finding potential solutions. It's always much easier to complain than to find a solution. And individuals who whine on a regular basis, they are apt to have a bad health. So next time we'll find you complaining that, why do pizzas come in square boxes, yet they are round? And funny enough, they are cut in triangles. Does that sound like you? Yeah, please write this down. Write this down. What are human rights? What are human rights? I know Dr. India White, she mentioned all the nuggets that you wanted to hear on establishing your self-worth. She mentioned that you will have to make a list on what we want from any relationship that we're in, and also establish self-care, which is the quality time alone, without kids around, without family around, just you yourself alone, because you do matter. And then she also mentioned that you'll have to create boundaries around you. She went on and on and on, and then she went to the workplace that you'll have to speak up. No one can ever read your mind. Speak up. And Rania on the other side, oh, thank you so much, Rania, for sharing such a much needed solution for the pandemic. You've mentioned that there are 2 factors that will assist each and every country throughout the post-pandemic recovery. And you've mentioned high levels of positive peace and favorable economic conditions before the pandemic. And Michelle, she just made me cry. She really made me cry with her message on domestic violence. She mentioned that you are always considered a supply to a narcissistic to boost their ego. And they take time to study you. They study you as a person because you've poured yourself out there. You shared everything about you. So I am here to ask you, what comes into your mind when you think of the word human rights? Human rights. You can give me a 5 in the chat box. You can say whatsoever comes into your mind when you think of the word human rights, because many people really, they get so confused when it comes to human rights. I just want to know what you know about human rights, because human rights are the fundamental rights and freedoms that are inherent to all human beings, regardless of your gender, nationality, place of residency, sex, ethnicity, religion, or even your skin color. Human rights are not just about the law. So human rights are non-discriminatory, meaning that all human beings are entitled to them. All human beings are entitled to them. You really don't have to see the whole staircase, good people, but you'll have to take the first step to get to the top. As my mentor always say, that you don't have to be great to get started, but you'll have to get started to become great in life. So my everyday book says that you'll have to learn to do good, seek justice, correct oppression, bring justice to the fatherless, and plead the widow's cause. So get started today, seek justice, learn to do good, and plead the widow's cause. Really, to me, it was the death of George Floyd that made me to realize that, you know what? We need to stand up for a world where no one shall live in fear because of the color of their skin, and where the criminal justice system treats everyone fairly and equally. If you remember very well, last year, May 25th, George Floyd died in police custody in Minneapolis, Minnesota. This 46-year-old Black man was arrested and killed after a convenience store employee called 911 on Floyd's suspicion of passing a counterfeit $20 bill. The video that was captured by a bystander, it showed George Floyd pinned face down on the ground in handcuffs, and one of the police officers kneeling on his neck as he was pleading for help. I can't breathe, I can't breathe. And finally, he fell silent. May his soul rest in eternal peace. It is so impossible not to be outraged after watching that video of the Minneapolis officer pressing his knee against Floyd's neck for a period initially reported to be 8 minutes and 46 seconds. I believe that everyone is born free and has the right to life. And yes, I am here today to educate everyone to get to know their human rights. Be familiar with your human rights so that you will know when your human rights are being violated. And it's so funny how my mom and dad gave me this beautiful, beautiful name, Nompumelelo. Always seek passion, good people. Nompumelelo in my own language. I know many people, they don't even know how to say my name, and I don't blame them for that. It's because of my mom and dad. Nompumelelo in my own language, it means mother of all success. So now you can see that I am really, really challenged to chase after success no matter what comes my way. If I may ask you, how many of you have dreams and goals that you want to achieve maybe in the next 6 months? I am one of them. I want you, as you think about your dreams and goals, to put this down. Rise to greater heights. Rise to greater heights, because you need to be clear about your career goals in order for you to gain guidance on professional development. As a coach or as a mentor, my goal really is to study your current situation, identify limiting beliefs and other obstacles that might be preventing you from achieving specific outcomes in your life, and then design a plan of inspired action to empower you to achieve specific outcomes in your life. As Barack Obama once said, the future rewards those who press on. I don't have time to feel sorry for myself. I don't have time to complain. I am going to press on. Good people, you really don't have to be politically involved to know about your human rights. All human beings are entitled to them, and you can never, ever be excluded from your human rights. As flight attendants always say, that put on your oxygen mask first before you assist others, because if you don't, you and the other person you're trying to help could possibly go down. So I believe that this is the time for you to get familiar with your human rights. This is a wake-up call, good people. This is a wake-up call. But when that alarm clock goes off, please, please, don't ever hit the snooze button. Don't be like, I will wake up in the next 2 minutes. I will wake up in the next 4 minutes. You know what? Forever is a long time. Why don't you wake up, get going, and know your human rights? Remember that a right is a freedom of some kind. It doesn't matter where we were born or what kind of family we were born into. We all have the internal recognition of the moral quality of one's motives and actions. As Nelson Mandela once said, to deny people their human rights is to challenge their very humanity. And this message stirred something within me. It really stirred something within me. I so wish that you can just tell yourself that, you know what, all these amazing speakers have shared some nuggets on human rights. I'll have to go out there and make a difference. I'll have to make a difference to those who look at me as an inspiration. I'll have to make a difference within myself, because the change that I want to see in this world must first begin with me. But in order for you to make that difference, you've got to be hungry. You've got to be hungry like the hungry lion in the jungle. That hungry lion in the jungle, really, it doesn't matter what kind of animal comes his way. It doesn't matter if you had a giant elephant or that small squirrel by the jungle. All that hungry lion sees in front of his face is lunch. And it's so funny, because even with elephants, when they see a lion, what they do is that they run. It's all about the mindset. Once you believe, you become. They already told themselves that, you know what, I am a lunch to that lion. So each and every time when I see a lion, I'll have to run. I believe that's the mindset that we need in order for us to make a difference in this world. That's the lion mindset that we need in order for us to see a change in this world. It's so funny, when I was in the 8th grade, I was nicknamed Phoenix. I was nicknamed Phoenix after writing a composition using the idiomatic expression that says, I rose from the ashes like a phoenix bird, meaning I became successful again. Really, that English teacher, she didn't know the nickname Phoenix. It resonates with me. And it also aligns with my destiny. So for those of you who don't know the phoenix bird, the phoenix is a Greek mythological bird believed to rise from its own ashes after being buried like hundreds of years ago. This immortal creature acquires new life by rising from the ashes of its own ancestor, which represents our capacity for vision and success. I want to encourage you, if you're listening under my voice, that when your world comes crashing down, wear your scars to show how a phoenix feels like to die from inside, and trust in your own capability to rise from your own ashes, since the phoenix has to die first, burn, experience pain before resurrection from its own ashes. Please write this down in conclusion. Resilience to greatness. resilience to greatness. I don't know if you want me to remind you that your setback is a setup for your comeback. Your setback is a setup for your comeback. If I can be honest with you, I don't know what goals you've set for the next 6 months, but here is one thing I know about you. You are destined for greatness. Inside of you, God has put seeds of excellence, and those seeds are supposed to grow and flourish. But many people have become crippled by their past encounters, and some have stepped over other people to get to the top. But I believe that God has a better plan for every one of us. Your objective is what you were designed for and the reason why you live today. With God, I believe that we're all destined for greatness as long as we follow his strategy. This is when the growth commences, because discovering your gift and following God's idea will make you understand that you are the only one who can make your dreams come true today. My everyday inspiration, Mr. Les Brown, he once said, if you had to die today, at this very moment, at this hour, what dreams, what ideas, what visions, what books and what skills and what books will die with you? And Dr. Miles Monroe, he continued saying that the richest place on this planet is the cemetery, because that's where all the dreams, all the visions, all the goals, all the talents, all the skills have been buried. Honestly, I don't know about you, but with me, listening to this message, it gave me sleepless nights. And I am really, really proud today to introduce Rise to Greater Heights book before you. This is a comprehensive guide to turn your fears into greater success while seizing new opportunities. And by the way, the legend himself, Mr. Les Brown, he wrote the foreword in this book. And I didn't stop there. With the George Floyd situation in Minneapolis, Minnesota, I was like, you know what? It's high time people know that they have human rights. These are God-given fundamental rights and freedoms. They should be enjoying 30 human rights that they were born with it, and they will die with these human rights. No one will ever dictate how you're gonna live. These are human rights. These are God-given fundamental rights and freedoms. And I didn't stop there. I am glad that we have different authors in this podcast today. I am proud. I am really, really proud. In collaboration, these two books were born. Resilience to Greatness, 15 different authors around the world, and Cultivate Your Mindset, 17 different authors around the world. And this book has made its way to international best-selling book. So I am really proud. And I also have a free transformation guide for you. It's available on my website, www.risetogreaterheights.com. You'll be able to explore leadership, empowerment, being purpose-driven, mentorship, coaching, resilience to greatness, emotional intelligence, mental health, and many, many more topics, including spiritual growth, as well as successful single parenting. Because you know what, growing up, I didn't have much in life because my father decided to have an early departure from this planet Earth, but I had everything because of my mama's love. And I love you so much, Mom. So I think also ever say that the sky is the limit was wrong. From today on, I, Nompumelelo Riel Kunene, believe that the sky is our point of view. So let's all rise to greater heights. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to our amazing speakers. So at this moment, really, I appreciate your presence in this platform today. So feel free to share your final thoughts on your topic, really, under human rights. So any speaker can just jump in and share your final thoughts before we end the live stream.
Put this on.
Going once, going twice. Any speaker, jump in. Share your final.
Can you hear me?
Oh, go ahead. Baby, go ahead.
Yes, I can. Loud and clear.
Well, I want to say that actually the human rights system helps us to meet all the challenges, all the opportunities and needs of the 21st century, to reconstruct relationships between people and leaders, to achieve the global stability that we need now, solidarity, pluralism, inclusion, on which we all depend. And in this way that we can transform hope into concrete action with real impact on people's life. And our values must be a source of unity, not of division. We must give people hope and vision of what the future can hold. And I forgot to say also that I'm forming a group of volunteers. So anyone who is interested to join us as a volunteer for STEM education, I am at your disposal. You can find me on social media, Araña Lampu, or my YouTube channel, Araña Lampu. Thank you very much.
Am I allowed to?
Yes,
Should I go
thank
ahead
you.
now, or?
Yes, you can go ahead, Dr. White.
So I want to say this has been a phenomenal conference, hearing from such dynamic speakers all over this globe. I think the power is that even though we're in different locations, we all are connected in such a mighty way. We all are establishing, we know our purpose, and we're all paying it forward now on this phenomenal platform so that others can rise to greater heights and to do amazing things. And I want to say thank you again. And of course, you guys can contact me. You can reach me at india-white.com. You'll see blogs on equity, diversity, and inclusion. You'll see blogs on business. You'll see blogs on, knowing your worth and establishing who you are as a person. And I feel like I said at the beginning, it's all about knowing that you can overcome anything and that you are valued and you are needed. And so if you guys want to join me, reach out to me at www.india-white.com or send me an email at india.white.123@gmail.com. I would love to join your platform, as a speaker, or join your platform as a blogger, or join you in a book collaboration, or supporting you in your endeavors, helping you to birth your vision. I am very big on that, because I feel like all of us have a purpose, and I want to see you soar. I want to see you shine and evolve into who it is that God has called you to be as well. So again, thank you so much for the opportunity, Mrs. Real. I think you are a rock star indeed. And it was a delight to rub shoulders with you, and with you as well, Raina and Michelle. Definitely keep up the great work. But again, guys, reach me at www.india-white.com. You can fill out a contact form for coaching, speaking events, book events, tutoring, if you need tutoring in math, and so much more. I also, I forgot to mention, I have 37 books that I've written, and you can find the links on those books as well, ranging from autobiography, business, domestic violence, ministry, and so many more topics to serve you. So please make sure you visit that www.india-white.com so we can stay connected. Again, thank you.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much. I am not too sure if Michelle is going to share anything, but I understand her surrounding is not a good one. Okay, she's going.
Thank you so very much. I am so humbled and just equally proud that, that God would allow me to be in the same spaces with such dynamic women who speak about our rights, who know who they are and who know what their purpose is. I am so humbled and just so overjoyed. And even though my circumstances here and my surroundings are not the best today, and I do apologize for that. But like I said earlier, I was determined. I was on flight. I was on a flight, and as soon as I got out, I just came to the lounge and just, began to speak with you all. But I wanted to say thank you so much, Rael. You are so awesome, to seek me out, and that was the most humbling part to me. And I want to share just a little bit of something, and then I'll let you guys go. The reason why that was so important to me and that was so humbling for me is because sometimes when you're out doing the work, you're not recognized in your own town and in your own city. And sometimes, God has to allow his yes to be yes. and he will allow those people to greet you from all walks of life and from the uttermost parts of the world. And that was the part that just touched me in such a way. And your spirit, Rael, was so beautiful, just so sweet. It was just coming through the text messages and the emails. And so I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to share my story, to share this work with you all. We have to get this out there. Guys, if you want to get in contact with me, you can reach me by email at info@heybeautylifestyle.com. You can also join my free Facebook group. That's where all the good stuff happens. It's called Elegant Escape, because even though we're going through things, we can be elegant in doing so. We can still be beautiful in doing so. And that's where, like I said, I drop all these little gems and different things. On Black Friday, I am introducing the first ever narcissistic abuse hand guide for those women who are still trapped in the clutches of narcissistic abuse and those that are surviving. You will get clips of my horrid story on each page, and then you will have the opportunity to put and write down what you're going through at that particular time, and it will give you prompts to do all those things. I give you actually a blueprint as to how I did it. I left my abuser at 3:15 a.m. in the morning. He didn't know it hit him because I had been planning for over 6 months. So again, if you guys want to connect with me, info@heybeautylifestyle.com, or you can join my free Facebook group, which is called Elegant Escape. Thank you again. I am El Michelle Reyes, lifestyle strategist and narcissistic abuse aftercare coach. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much to our amazing speakers. I know we went beyond our time today, but you know what? All the information that was shared was very, very useful. Starting with Dr. India White, she shared on our self-worth, know your self-worth, and then we went to Greece, to Rania. She gave us all the access to human rights and the solutions throughout the pandemic. And Michelle, oh my God, she gave us the signs on how to spot a narcissistic domestic violence and how to overcome all that. So thank you so much, amazing speakers. Really, it's been truly an honor to have all of you. So thank you. To our viewers online, thank you so much for joining us today at Rise to Greater Heights Network, where you can turn your fears into greater success. I believe from the amazing nuggets that have been shared on this platform, you've been inspired, motivated, and ready to rise to greater heights. So please do join us next week at the same time, same place. Thank you. Merci. Stialonga.
Let him laugh, let him weep, let him yell, let him sing. Only one must say. Let him lay me traps and men to pray to Jehovah, me I pray. Let him laugh, let him weep, let him yell, let him sing. Only one must say. Let him lay me traps and men to pray to Jehovah, me I pray. Let I be me instead of playing games. For chasing fame, let somebody sweat the lack of flames. No, living my life to the fullest and shout out my halala to the fullest. Let my lungs out. I'm still